The match had moved on to 10 plus 10 tie breaks. And in the first 10 plus 10, this was a position that Fabi and Pragg had. If you look at this position, would you feel like black is in any trouble or going to be in any trouble? Look at this rook, right? The rook is sitting pretty on e3. And if you take, there's a dangerous pass pawn for black. And black is controlling everything. So it looks like a position where there is not much danger for black. It looks even better for black, even though black is down a pawn. And from here, how did things go wrong for Fabiano Caruana? So Pragg has just played bishop c4 and he wants to play b4 and gain space and play a5. So Fabiano played a5. So this position, it looks better for black because black has not allowed any counterplay from white, and this is a very stable setup. Even the commentators believed so.
I mean, it's weird because white actually has the extra pawn, but I'd still much rather be black here because black has these little pawn breaks. Okay, he does go a5, just stopping white's idea. If you, I mean, for example, if you ever imagine the black pawn getting to h4, I think the position becomes a little bit dangerous, right, for white there. And the same goes if there's a well-timed g5. So it should be a draw, but it's more drawish for black, I feel.
But here Pragg played a sneaky little move that Fabi did not quite deal with. Pragg played queen to f1. You might think, what is the point of this move? It's just like a waiting move, right? But there's a purpose. So see here, if you take on e3, pawn takes comes with a threat to the queen. So queen will have to move away. So that's one tempo. So you don't get time to play c3 and d4. But after queen f1, Fabi did not realize the seriousness of the situation. He just played a waiting move, asking Pragg, this is a draw. I mean, what can you do? Are you going to take on e3? I'm fine. But then Pragg took. And the difference is pawn is not attacking the queen now, which gives white an extra tempo. So b2 is hanging. c3 can be played. Queen is attacking b2. In the other case, queen will have to move and b2 would have fallen. But here, queen is not attacked. So c3. And now suddenly Pragg is playing for the win. The e3 pawn is weak. King f3, queen e2 and pick up. Pragg did something else, a little more smart than king f3 and queen e2. Not even allowing any check from black. So now bishop went back. Queen f3. So Pragg is doing king f1, king e2. And then he's going to play d4 and pick up the pawn. That way the king is not in any danger at all, any check at all. Now, before we see how Pragg won this, let's see what was the correct play for Fabiano. This was a moment where Fabi played a5, that is correct. And now queen f1, here Fabi had to play something like queen e7 was okay. Because if rook takes, the queen can take back. So that is still okay. Or in the spirit of the position, Fabi could have played h5. Fabi has these pawn breaks here, h4 is coming. So now if Pragg does the same thing, takes in c3, then h4 will come. And now you will play g4 to keep the thing stable. But then comes e2. And when queen takes queen f4, it is white who has to be careful because his king is not very safe and you're fighting against a bishop and a queen. The other option was queen e7, in which case takes and black is still doing fine. But yeah, when Fabi played bishop c5, that is what allowed this with tempo. d4 is coming with tempo too, right? So bishop went back. Now queen came to f3, queen e7, threatening e2. So king f1, stopping that. And now bishop just waited. Fabi just waits. And now king e2. Queen d7. You can see how he is still not playing d4. He's not playing d4 until he is ready to take the pawn. That's really great play. b3, not giving any free pawn to black. And now comes d4. The pawn is all ready to be gobbled up. Remember, Pragg is already up by one pawn. And this is going to be second pawn. He plays d5. Engine says it's a miswin, but yeah, it's a very good move. Because the pawn is anyway falling. Right? Bishop b8 and queen takes. Of course, black can't exchange queens, 2 pawns down. Bishop b5. c5 is defended by the f8 queen. And now queen comes to d6. The Fabi regains some control, not allowing the pawn to go forward easily. It still needs to be won, right? When you play with these top players, being 2 pawns up is not enough. You still have to convert this. And bishop c6, very nice move. Bishop c7, and now king comes in. This is where Pragg shows immense skill. I don't know if other players would do this well against Fabi, even with 2 extra pawns. Pragg just finds a very nice plan to walk with his king over to the queen side so that he can take on a5 or c5. The queen just improves itself. Pawn g5, counterplay, but not enough. Queen check, queen d3, queen takes pawn. But now the white king is so far in. a5 is attacked. If bishop moves, c5 hangs. Queen g4, attacking g5. King takes pawn. Queen takes. Now black can try to get counterplay, but I mean, with bishop takes and then this. But white's play is much faster. King b5. Bishop takes. Now Pragg pushes his a pawn. Both of them are very low on time by now. But yeah, Pragg's play is very easy here. I mean, easy is a strong word, but it's comfortable for Pragg. But still, he has to deal with Fabi. Now queen comes to e7, stopping a7. And now queen f3, just improving the queen, stopping h5. And the plan is to get the queen in, either to d7 or c8. Very nice move. So such accurate play from Pragg. He's just playing, he's on fire. He's just playing very smooth moves. Queen g4, king moves, and now queen jumps in. Bishop moves away, and queen d7. Pragg is helping the pawn forward. Black's counterplay is not even there. Queen check, king b6. Pawn c4. Trying to open up lines towards the king. Here, pawn takes pawn, which I might play. I don't know. If I was playing, I might just play this, and that would allow counterplay. Right? We don't want that. So Pragg just plays b4, calmly blocking the lines towards his king. Queen check, king comes to b5. And there's no check here. Black has no checks to give, and a7 is coming. And you can't do anything with the bishop. Right? Bishop going back still wouldn't be of any use. And now queen takes pawn, pawn a7, queen comes to d3, and queens. Fabi gives a check, but the king goes to b7. The king is very safe there. King b7, and now c2, but it's 2 queens that Fabi has to deal with. And now queen check, and here Fabiano Caruana resigned because mate is incoming wherever the king is. It's difficult to fight against the 2 queens. So it was a very strong win, like absolutely brilliant win by Praggnanandhaa against the world number 3, Fabiano Caruana. And he is now going, and he won the next game, which, he drew the next game. So he won the match, and he's now going to face Magnus Carlsen in the finals.